Hello everyone, welcome back to Namma Laex Bangalore. Myself Vinayak Vaivujani. This is Know Your Board series. We already covered 5 boards previously. So what we do in this series is that we understand the trends that have been asked on the previous board based on 400 plus transcripts from the Law Excellence students, and then we find out the probability of questions being asked. Okay, what is the probability of questions coming from your DAF? Probability of questions coming on your opinion, probability of questions on current affairs, etc., etc. And the predictions, what kind of questions can be asked based on your DAF. Okay, and again, if you want a questionnaire based on your DAF, write down in the comment box and we'll add to the group. Sorry, not group, we'll add you to the group, and once you are added to the group, you can send us the DAF and we'll provide you the questionnaires based on your group. Okay, based on your DAF. Okay, we'll provide the questionnaire and you can prepare on the questionnaire as well. So let us start another board, that is BB Swain sir, Shri Bidyut B Swain sir. Okay, again one of the most cordial boards in the UPSC interview history. So he is an IAS officer of the batch of 1988 Gujarat cadre, and his experience in administrative wide plus trade focused and MSME heavy plus state level governance grounded. So this means he brings macroeconomic and industry policy plus governance lens to the board. Okay, so we'll understand, like before we jump into the different type of probability or questions, we have to first understand his profile as well. So this is the DAF of Swain sir board. So key themes in his career is that he worked in Gujarat administrative experience. So he worked in Gujarat administration. So he has experience in Gujarat administration from 1989 to 2018. It is almost similar to Dinesh Dasa sir board, or similar to Dinesh Dasa sir. He was also working in Gujarat Public Service Commission for almost 30 years. So similar to him, BB Swain sir is also from Gujarat Public Administration Board. So district plus state level postings, and CEO of Gujarat Infrastructure Development Board, Industries Commissioner, CEO of GADC, that is Industrial Estates. He was also Secretary Primary Education, Chief Electoral Officer of Gujarat. Very important, Chief Electoral Officer of Gujarat. Very important. So you can, if you are going into the board of BB Swain this year, probability are very high on questions regarding to SIR. Okay, prepare on it thoroughly. So just from his experience, you can see most of the questions will be around administration, most of the questions will be around industries, economy, etc. So the implication is he understands governance and public service delivery, infrastructure models, industrial growth and land management, electoral integrity and logistics. So most of the times questions will be on these, and don't try to bluff in these kind of questions. You have to be very crisp and you have to be very honest in your answers. Next, Government of India experience in Commerce Ministry from 2018 to 2020. So he worked in special economic zones, trade with CIS like Central Asian countries, Russia, Armenia, Kazakhstan, etc. with respect to Export Insurance Commission, and chairperson of Kimberley process, that is conflicting diamonds, and Commissioner General for India at the World Expo Dubai. Meaning strong grounding in international trade negotiations, export promotion and WTO compliance incentives, geopolitically, economic governance and India's image projected abroad. So very important. Again, he comes with a very wide variety of experiences. Next, he was also Secretary of MSME. As I told you, MSME heavy because of he handled EC, LGS, Udyam registration reforms, OFB corporationalization links, cluster development, formalization, digital MSME ecosystem. All the topics you read in as part of GS3, he has lived them. Okay, he has experienced them in first hand. Next, questions can be expected on employment, credit flows, GST impacts, informal sector, entrepreneurship and Make in India initiatives. Okay, and education and interests, MA Political Science, Masters in Public Policy, collector of autographed books and contemporary Indian art. And implications, he will most likely ask questions about IR, public policy reforms, also art, culture, heritage, philosophical questions, and questions on your hobbies are a must or a 100% guarantee in BB Swain board. Okay, BB Swain sir's board. Okay, now let us understand the main pattern analysis. Okay, what are the dominant repeating character of this board is that interview is 80 to 90% about your DAF only. So it is highly DAF centric. So across all the candidates of around 400 plus students, one of the most common criteria, most common pattern we saw was 80 to 90% was around DAF only. Almost every question is extracted from hometown, graduation subject, optional, work experience, hobbies, specific achievements, areas of interest in DAF, etc. etc. Even in IR, economy questions are asked only if DAF mentions are there in. Okay, for example, if you have mentioned anything related to economy, meaning your hobby or your degrees are around economy, or some persons will write in their hobby that interest in geopolitics, so the questions will be on geopolitics then. Okay, so very important. The conclusion is no candidate faces random questions, and the board is most DAF faithful among all the UPSC boards, even more DAF faithful compared to Dinesh Dasa sir board. Okay, most DAF faithful is BB Swain sir board. So the dominant repeating character of this board is conversational type, so conversation based. So they will try to have a conversation with you. Their idea is not to test your knowledge, they want to test how you are going to cope with your higher officials, how you are going to express your opinions, how you are going to articulate your answers, how will you deal under pressure. Next, not stress based, and board is extremely cordial, gives cues, hints and helps as well. Whenever you are not aware of a particular question, they will try to give you a hint. Next, interruptions are very minimal except when they push for deeper thinking, and many candidates received prompts like "Aur socho," "It's okay, continue," "Take your time." Okay, so very cordial. It is like a like your grandfather talking to you. Take your time, think about it, like that. Chairman Swain says board style is that very soft, smiling, friendly, starts directly from DAF questions, asks 1 to 3 key questions and then passes immediately. So most of the questions will not be asked directly from the Swain sir, directly from chairman, but it will be asked from his board. Focus areas are district, state, optional subjects, hobby basics, 1 to 2, conceptual governance questions, etc. Often stays silent, later and listens. Okay. So this is about Swain sir. Now the dominant and repeating character of this board, most of the times there will be one lady member in this board, and this lady member asks the deepest questions consistently. That is, women members grill more, they probe deeper, ask follow-ups, so they go conceptual, they go application level, they go practical, and also they ask about opinion. Especially on education, social sector, women issues, anthropology, I mean your optional, and IR, ethics, sociology, etc. Again, even though they grill you, they will grill you on your DAF only, nothing outside of it. So board loves explain why, differentiation, opinion. Okay, so these are some of the repeated questions in the transcripts. That is what they repeatedly ask. Why did you like X? Like any particular thing. If you say you like anime, why did you like anime? Next, why happen? Meaning, if there is an event happening, why did the particular event happen? What is policy? Why is the policies that needed? Next, what is the difference between A and B? Meaning they will ask, take it 2 topics. They will ask what is the difference between Middle East and what is the difference between Far East. Okay, or they might ask what is the difference between Gulf countries and what is the difference between Middle East. Okay. Next, what is your own view, not the government of India's view. Okay, sometimes what we do is in interview we try to get very diplomatic and we give the opinion of government of India or we give the opinion of Ministry of External Affairs, but in certain cases they will ask your own view, not the government of India's view. Again, sounds tricky, but very honest opinion is what they are expecting from you. Next, so master question categories, like 14 types of questions are there. Most of them are segregated or repetitive in nature, but we'll discuss like the previous board. So most of the questions will be from DAF only. So DAF, hometowns, states or districts are the high probability, around 80 to 90%. So for example, in the transcripts, the questions were, tell me about your district in short. Why is Varanasi historically significant? Maybe he is a person who belongs to Varanasi. What is unique about Maharashtra? Maybe he is a person from Maharashtra. Obviously, he is a person from Maharashtra. problems in your native place and the solutions, most common repetitive theme of Swain's board. So what you have to do is you have to learn about your district. You have to be ready with at least certain problems and certain solutions which you can give it to the board. Not only this particular board, this question can be asked from any kind of board or any person or any board. Okay, be ready for this. So pattern is these questions are always followed by issues, solutions, and your role as an officer. Okay, situational type of questions are connected with your DAF, connected with your hometown, etc., etc. Next, DAF graduation subject extremely high. Okay, as I told you, within the DAF, graduate subject is the questions on graduate subjects will be very high. So they go very deep if your subject is technical. For example, if your subject or if your degree is in electronics, if you're an electronics engineer, they go deep into semiconductor spectrum auction, what happens in spectrum auction, what is semiconductor, what is AI, what do you mean by chips, what is the difference between chips and semiconductors, all those things will be asked. And if you're is again from civil engineer, questions will be on dams, seismic design, metro, NPA, etc., etc. Next, computer science, they will ask about AI, machine learning, large language models, etc. If yours is from chemical engineering, organometallics, water treatment, again, history, they will ask you about Pune Pact, freedom fighters, etc. And physics, they will ask about tectonics, etc. Ramapithecus, maybe because of anthropology. And again, if your option is anthropology or if your degree is anthropology, then tribes, marriage systems, NRC, etc. Okay, and sociology, if your option is sociology, they'll ask about stratification, social justice, Gurye, etc., etc. These are some of the famous personalities in sociology. So the pattern is they always start with simple question, but the follow-up question will be very deeper. Then applied governance. Okay, again based on the DAF only, you can prepare on this. Next, DAF optional subjects. Again, this is very high here also. They will always ask at least 3 to 10 questions if the optional is mentioned. Again, optional is mentioned, and in your introduction, sometimes what they do is they will ask you introduction, introduce yourself. When you introduce yourself, you will tell about yourself. Myself so and so, I come from so and so, I did the schooling in the early schooling here and my later schooling here, and I have done graduation here, and I worked prior to here, etc. And if you mention that my option is so and so, and if you mention your hobbies are so and so, then for sure you are going to get questions on your optional in the introduction. So in the introduction, avoid mentioning your optional. I mean, if you're confident about your optional, if you are okay that you are going to tackle all kind of questions, then mention your optional. For example, if the question, your option is PSR, they will ask you directly about Article 370 SARC BRICS. Okay, I mean, these are the ones which are always in use. And then sociology, then they will ask about conflict theory, caste stratification. Again, anthropology, they will ask about tribe, evolution, marriage, etc. Law, they will ask about Keshavananda Bharati case, judicial activism, judicial encroachment, etc., etc. And if your option is history, they will ask about again Mughal capitals, Pune Pact, etc. So the pattern is in optional, they expect conceptual clarity plus ability to apply to governance. They do not want bookish answers. They want to study how much conceptual knowledge you have with respect to your optional. Did you just mug up from your books, or did you get a conceptual clarity in your optional? And will you be able to apply this conceptual knowledge into governance or not? That is what they are trying to study here. Next, DAF questions on hobbies are also very high. They probe hobbies very deeply. For example, if your hobby is cricket, they will ask about PR issue and rules, India-Pakistan. Okay, so again, recently the India-Pakistan Asia Cup was in news because of both the countries' players refusing to shake hands and Pakistani chairperson taking away the Asia Cup to their hometown, their home country. So those kind of questions can be asked this year as well. Then Kabaddi, rules and origins. And table tennis, Indian players from table tennis, why table tennis is not so big of a deal in India. And Ikat, they'll ask viewing types. If your hobby is journaling, they will ask explain your own hobby. Are you true to your hobbies? Are you writing honestly in your journals, etc., etc. They will ask if your hobby is musical, they will ask about your favorite composers. Why do you like them? What is so special about the particular composer? Next, old Bollywood songs, they will ask about music directors. So the pattern is they ask what did this hobby teach you about administration? Very important. You know everything about your hobby, you know why you like the hobby, but Their aim is to understand why this hobby or how is this hobby going to help in administration. How is this hobby going to help in administration? That is their doubt or that is their question here. Okay. Next, world affairs only if mentioned in DAF. Again, examples will be about Bangladesh crisis, South Korean crisis, Ukraine war, chip war, Trump impact on India, SARC, is SARC dead, China, Pakistan, BRI. Again, all the same topics, all these topics are very important for your 2025 interview as well, or personality test as well. So the pattern is they want your answers to be balanced and keep answers balancing India's interest plus diplomacy and be realistic as well. Okay, you have to balance all the core ideals. Next, neighborhood or IR. So repeated across the transcripts, that is Afghanistan policy, India, Bangladesh, India, Nepal, India, Sri Lanka, India, Pakistan, India, China, LAC issues. These are some of the most repetitive or repeated questions in this particular theme. Okay. Next, MSME, trade or industry, medium to high. Because Swain sir was former MSME and Commerce Secretary, questions are frequently asked about SEZ. They will ask about formalization of MSME. They will ask about or like organized economy, or disorganized economy, or unorganized economy, etc. So they will ask about SEZs. They will ask about MSME competitiveness. Ask about export infrastructure, trade with Central Asian countries, freebies versus subsidies, or freebies versus welfare, logistics and supply chain. So these kind of questions are very high in Swain sir board. So pattern is, even if it is not in DAF, commerce or MSME questions appear occasionally. So just be ready on these core issues. Anyway, you read about MSMEs or industries in GS3. Now the time is to implement these or apply these in front of the board. Education sector, again the pattern is very high because two lady members repeatedly asked this in most of the transcripts of last 2-3 years. So examples were about learning outcomes, input, output versus outcome. Maybe they might have asked about gender budgeting or performance budgeting question. Next, national education policy, rural teachers, adult tinkering labs, student suicides, coaching regulation, etc. etc. Again, education has a higher score here. Next, questions with respect to governance and policy is again very high, asked across almost all interviews. Very important, almost all the people who shared the transcript face these kind of questions. Policy and equity, road accidents, crime control, e-governance, election integrity, panchayat raj, administrative ethics. So they will ask questions about these. How will you address these? Okay, if you are made a district magistrate of a so and so company or so and so thing, how will you address? That is what they will be asking. They want to see realistic, implementable district level answers here. Okay. Next, anthropology and tribal issues, medium to high. I mean, again, if your optional is anthropology, most of the times they have asked about these tribal and anthropological issues. So that is it. Boards love asking about anthropology, even if the optional is not anthro. Okay, especially about Andaman tribes, demography, 370 implications on tribes, marriage as a social institution, world population decline. Okay, so even if your option is not anthropology, now just read about these social issues. So they are not very core anthropological issues, but these are the issues which you read as a part of GS1, GS2 as well. Next, internal security, the medium, Naxalism, cyber security, digital arrest, narco terrorism, migration from the borders, defense spending, etc. etc. Okay, very important again. Next, environment and disaster. So like very medium scope for asking these kind of questions. Dams and seismic zones, coastal erosion, sky, Silk Yara tunnel collapse. Again, if any collapse happens this year, they might ask. Air pollution, GRIP, forest fires, etc. This year they might ask about airplane crash in Ahmedabad, in Gujarat. So they might ask about this the Ethiopia volcano, like which erupted after 10,000 years and its impact on Delhi. Okay. Next is the questions about personal questions. These are also very high. Every candidate faced at least one of these following questions. That is, again, most of the boards tend to ask these kind of questions, especially if you are working first on a particular day. on the particular day. If you are a first person to go, you are most of the times you are facing these kind of questions. Why civil service? Weaknesses, leadership style, what makes you so unique, what do you value most, how would you handle disagreement with seniors. Again, these were asked by most of the panels. We discussed about Shukla sir board and Shilordhan sir board as well. Probabilities, again, you can just go through this afterwards. This document will be available for you. So the board's questions style is based on all the transcripts. Start simple and then gets conceptual, then gets applied and then ethical. Okay, so be ready. So it all depends on how you answer this first simple question. Okay, next. Again, example is what is MSP, why was it created. First, if you ask what is MSP, you'll say what is MSP. Then you will ask why it was created. So why are the farmers are protesting? Should we legalize MSP? What is your opinion on these things? So again, legalization of MSP. So they go very deep. The follow-up questions are very up. And they push you to rethink. If you give a standard answer, their reply is this only government of India view or is it your view? So what is your view? Are you sure? Think again, very important. So sometimes what happens here is the view you give might be somewhat wrong in sense. So they might ask you again these kind of questions, follow-up questions. But if you think your view is very right, stick to it. Okay, don't change your view as soon as they ask you to think again or are you sure? Don't try to change your view as soon as they ask you certain questions. Okay, think for yourself. If you think your view is proper or correct, if you stand by your view, then be ready to give justifications for your view as well. Next, they like exploring contradictions. UPI is free but credit cards are give cashback. Which is better? War is bad but why huge defense spending by different countries? Population declining globally. What should India do? Okay, so then DAF specific template questions about key features for your district, 2 problems, 2 opportunities, 3 social schemes visible, tourism and economy of your district, aspirational indications, migration issues, etc. They will ask. So be ready on this. And on your degree, what is 1 core concept, 1 application of your degree in administration, recent development, global example, and 1 problem with your discipline. For your optional, 3 core thinkers, 1 criticism, 1 application in governance, etc. With respect to hobbies, when did you start your hobby? How does it help in administration? What have you learned from it? 1 book, 1 film, 1 incident. If you have written, I like reading, then they will ask what is 1 book you would suggest me to read. If you write your hobby is to watching movies, so suggest me one movie which you want me to watch. So those kind of questions. So this is about BB Swain sir board. So this micro analysis of BB Swain board is completed done here, and I think the decoding of the board was very good. All the transcripts gave us something and we have decoded it and have presented it in front of you. So again, as usual, our very own promotion for us, that is interview guidance program from IGP 2026, which will be led by Rambabu sir, Ram Mohan sir and myself. So if you have any doubts with respect to DAF, and DAF is already finalized and DAF is already filled now. Now if you have doubts with respect to how to prepare on a particular hobby, subjects, etc., you can write down in the comment box, or you can join the link which will be provided in the description. You can join the link and will be added to WhatsApp and Telegram group, and where we are conducting everyday discussions. Okay, so this is today's Know Your Board video. Please share with your friends so that more and more people can get benefit of this. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel and again click on the bell icon so that you don't miss a notification. With this, I will end the video. Jai Hind.